Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy. Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I am David Allen. Thank you for joining us today in the chat. If you want to see some other content, please let me know. I'm open to sharing some other things with you guys besides the classified series. So I'm compiling some notes for you guys in the chat. So you just let me know what you would like to see a review on, and I will probably have that, and I could probably show you guys that. So that's something new I'm going to try to do in the future. And so we are covering Copperhead number 72 from the classified line today. So Copperhead is an interesting figure because he does not come with this vehicle, which is very sad because I think this is a necessity vehicle. But for some odd reason, Hasbro has not included water vehicles. I believe, I'm trying to think, I believe Copperhead is the first water-based character in classified up to this point. So I think that is very telling at this point for 72 classified figures. 00 Snake Eyes, Fortnite Snake Eyes, the running variants, and all the movie ones that we have, and all the vintage package ones. We're going to be going on the number 8. So we're up to about, I would say, about close to 100 figures at this point with all of that. And there was no water characters, no water vehicles. So it's very interesting. And this is going to continue for quite some time without water vehicles. We will get water characters, but no water vehicles. Very interesting. And it's going to be a discussion for a future time and debate. All right, so let's get to the history of Copperhead. Again, we're going to go into Dan Klingensmith's series of books, and that is Creating G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, volume number 3 by Dan Klingensmith Jr. All right, so there are quite a lot of ideations here for Copperhead on this page, 5 or 6 different ones. Hello, Bobby World. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Did you see the Legacy Officer on Amazon? No, I ordered a couple of them already through Entertainment Earth. I could probably get it through Amazon if I wanted to, but I do want to get a couple more of them. And then this is the main costume for Copperhead. Now, Copperhead's got 2 or 3 different designs. They're showing one design there, and then 3 or 4 different ideations over there on this page. As Copperhead comes out, the vintage version does have multiple versions. When I show you that, I will explain to you what those variations are. So let's see, alternate names. NA, year release, 1984, designed by Ron Rudat. Again, Ron Rudat designed almost every figure and vehicle driver from 82 to 87. Most of them, not everyone, but most of them. 610, Yo Joe Daddy, good morning. What's up, fellas? Love Copperhead. Y'all smash that like button. Yes, please subscribe. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video. We're trying to grow. I want to get to that 150 mark. It's very, very close. We're almost there. So everything you guys can do to help me out, I appreciate it. Thank you, 610 Yojo Daddy. You're the best. So let's read a little bit about what Dan had to say about Copperhead. Um, when designing Copperhead, Ron shared that he was going for an aquatic looking type of character, hence the working name Swamp Driver, pulling from Heavy Metal magazine. Ron realized a few images utilized a few images of helmets for reference when designing his helmet. All right. So yeah, you can see these weird helmets over here on this page, different versions of it um, that they're talking about. There. All right, so we're done with that. So we're going to move on to his card art. Now, because he's a vehicle driver, there's not a normal card art. There's a vehicle package art. There you go. There's Copperhead with his vehicle package cart art, and that was the water moccasin. So he's the driver of the water moccasin. And this is Collecting the Art of G.I. Joe by Carson Metaxas 3D Joe's volume number 2. And so then one of the next issues of G.I. Joe that got the animation ad swirl that they did. They did the first one with issue 1, and then they did 4 after that. And I think this might be the second one. And you can see it has Zartan, Cobra Commander, the Water Moccasin, Wild Bill. I think that's Airborne there, so it has quite a lot of stuff on that. So I noticed with a lot of those, they showcase a lot of figures and vehicles on those ads on the covers, and this was a good one to do because it showcases several vehicles and a lot of different figures on that. So that is Copperhead's first appearance, and that's one of my favorite stories because there's so much stuff going on in that story over a period of 4 or 5 issues. All the Cobra hierarchy gets in trouble. There's lots of vehicles. There's lots of characters. There's some secrets back and forth secrets with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. There's this a primary story, then there's a secondary story, and they swap back and forth over like 4 or 5 issues. That storyline, and so the origin of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and that is also going on during that story arc. So then we have Copperhead, the vintage figure. And because he doesn't have any accessories, we don't need to worry about that. But so I'm going to go over Copperhead a little bit. He's a fairly tight figure. He's a little bit different kind of a mold. And they used a really lot of cool hot paint colors on him. Really, really nice. He always was one of my favorites when I was young. I got a lot of boats and water stuff when I was young because of where I was growing up in New Hampshire. We had rivers behind our houses and we had woods, so I would always play out there and create forts by the river and stuff. And I loved having boats to go in the streams. So he's really tight. He's got his tampo really nice and shiny on there, silver tampo. But there is a difference. There are 3 variations of Copperhead that have been released of this version, this vintage version, and it has to do with his hands. There are different versions that have dots, different dots on his hand: dark green, light green, all green, and so forth. So those are the variations that Copperhead had as a figure when he originally came out with the Water Moccasin in 1984. That's one of my favorite all-time years. 84, 85 are my 2 favorite years. And a lot of 83 I like too. So there's your Copperhead vintage vehicle driver. I did not pull out the water moccasin because obviously we didn't get that vehicle, so there's no need to pull that out. Sean Jones, thanks for joining us in the chat. Morning, Dave and chat. Thank you. We appreciate you coming in and talking with us again. So then we have the vintage Copperhead. So let's go over this a little bit. So first, we've got to check out his designations. So his designations are, let's see, we have... there's a wheel, one of those wheels that go on like a ship the steering wheel. Let's see what that one is. Where is that? I know it's in here because I've seen it before. Oh, here it is. It says naval pilot. Makes sense because he's a vehicle driver, naval pilot. Then we have the bullets, and that is light weapons. So naval pilot, light weapons. Then we have that weird looking thing that I always have a hard time finding. These are much smaller, so it's harder to see what they actually are. Hand-to-hand combat, maybe? That might be hand-to-hand combat. And then I can't tell what that other one is. So you got light weapons, hand-to-hand combat, and naval operations. But I can't tell what the last one is. It's too small. So there you go. That's the designations. So then, HK Viper, hello. You're new in the chat. Thank you for joining us today. Morning all. Dropping. Okay, dropping in. You're gonna have to catch the replay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you commenting, and we haven't gotten that far into this, but that's fine. So we have the render of Copperhead here with his accessories, and then we have a little bit showing his different weapons and that tempo, similar to the vintage one. Then we have that Target piece of artwork there with the QR code to nowhere. And then we have this really nice, menacing piece of artwork. Look at those eyes. Isn't that cool? That's so menacing. I'm not sure who they're getting to do these pieces of art on the sides now, but they're all really, really nice, I must say. I like them a lot. So then we get the package art, the photography by Shooting the Galaxy Matt, and we got that little piece of art there and his weapons. So they gave him some weapons since he doesn't have his vehicle, I guess. So this has a really cool temple in the background, and he's like out in like Brazil or something like that. And I'm looking to see if there's anything back there. I don't see anything in the back of the package. It seems like they stick stuff in the package, but I don't see anything in that one. So that's your Copperhead package, 72 again. And as always, we do this. We've started with 00 Snake Eyes. We've gone up. We're up to 72. And then we've also done the first 7 vintage package figures and some odds and ends. So that brings us to Copperhead with his card art, his package art back there. And then we have another weapons locker, has Copperhead 72, Cobra. So I'll put that over here for a minute next to vintage Copperhead. So we did not get anything new yesterday. I was surprised. I thought for sure we were going to get something new, but we did not. So maybe it will be today. We'll have to wait and see. But so what do you guys think? Would you guys want to do some other reviews in other videos? Is there something you guys would like me to pull out of my collection to review? I asked at the beginning of this chat. So if you guys want me to do a review on something that you think is cool, that you don't think has been reviewed or talked about a lot, and I have it, I will review it. So you just let me know in the chat, and I will do a video on that for you guys. All right, just holler in the chat. Let me know if you want me to do a review on, and I will get it if I have it. All right. So there's Copperhead and his art. Put that over there. And so then Here's your Copperhead. Now, just looking at him off the top, he's definitely a darker green, a darker set of colors. He's much more subdued and darker, all of his color schemes. So this one is way brighter. It's much more hot green and hot teal. If you look at the two of them, you can see right on that screen that there's definitely a big difference between that and that. Um, so I think just off the top, that gives room for a vintage package Copperhead and possibly maybe a vintage package water moccasin vehicle, maybe for $100 or something like that. I think it's something that we could get. I would like them to do vintage package vehicles. There's a couple of vehicles that we should be getting in with our figures that we have it, like Zartan and his water skier. That might be another way to get another Zartan. Bobby World, um, HK Viper. All right, talking in the chat. That's cool. 610 Yojo Daddy. Um, so these are much more muted colors, much more darker colors. So he's a little wobbly. He's a bit wobbly. I don't know if that was the packaging or whatever that was tying him down, but sometimes these are a little wobbly. Um, these chest articulations. But I do like this figure. He has a lot of cool secondaries. He's got this secondary on his chest, and it has a holster, but I guess you can't put anything in that holster. So it's got this secondary here, and he's got a little bit of deco, green deco on the back of that holster. So then he's got another secondary, this belt, but that does have two holsters, one on the left and one on the right, and it has a little bit of a strap that you could put over it when you're done locking it down. And then he's got two little armbands on his calves, one on this arm, his right, and one on his left. So these are calf straps. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. They're just for extra coloring and extra deco. I'm not. Then he's got a little bit of coloring and deco on the hands with the green dots. So the green dots were what was the variations on the vintage one. There was several different green dot variations. He's got a little bit of silver deco in that belt. It's like an octopus type deco there. Um, his mask is really cool. I think they captured that grimace really well. See, I'm trying to get a good view for you guys to look at those eyes. There. He's got the green pads all over his legs. He's got the green deco on the helmet, a little silver and black on the breather. I think it would have been kind of cool to get a second helmet for him. Maybe if they do a vintage package version, a much brighter version of Copperhead, maybe we can get a secondary helmet to go on and off of him. I think that would be kind of cool. So then he has his familiar silver Cobra logo. It's kind of blocked by this secondary there on the chest, but you can kind of see it underneath that secondary, the silver logo that's on the vintage one. All right. So then we have he's got the new head articulation. He's got the butterflied shoulders, double pin elbows, double pin knees. He's got the wrist. He does not have the secondary wrist. He has the ab crunch, and the waist articulation that I mentioned was a little loose, so that's not good. He's got the crotch and leg articulation. He's got the thigh calf articulation. He's got the secondary ankle swivel and the foot rockers there. So he's got most of the same articulation points except for the secondary wrist ones. And he looks very cool. He looks very sturdy, very strong looking. Other than that ab crunch being a little wobbly, it looks pretty good. When I was a kid, I was a guy who had when I was in when a kid, he was a guy you have classified was underwhelming. Okay. All right, Sean Jones. Um, Bobby World. I hope Hazard does a water moccasin, but I still have the Fortnite boat Copperhead seems to go okay with. Oh, you got the Fortnite boat, that black one. A lot of people got that. Um, Poor texting in traffic. Sorry. Hey, I've done it. It's not a good thing to do. Do it at lights or do it at stops for a few minutes or whatever if there's no traffic behind you. But don't do it while you're driving. Uh, that's a safety tip to all you folks out there. Don't text and drive. So he has black trunks, whereas the vintage has teal. Well, he kind of has black a little bit with a little bit of armor on it. So it is a little bit green and black with the deco on it. But the classified one is mostly all black. The deco the armor is black with little dots there. So all right, let's put him down for a moment, and we'll get into his weapons and open this weapon locker up. Again, we have the Cobra and GI Joe package. Yeah, that aside. Then we got the legal, gobbledygook, and indicia information. We'll put that aside there. Put that back in there. Put it over here. And we will see. He's got a few weapons. He doesn't have a lot. So this is a very light accessory loadout. But I guess they had to give him something since he didn't have his vehicle. So I think it would have been cool to get a second head with a second helmet. If since they went so cheap on him and didn't put his vehicle with him. So we got a handful of accessories here. So we have that backpack that I showed you they had on the back. It's like a big shotgun backpack. So it's like that. We've got that in a couple with other couple figures. Trying to remember who had that. But a couple other figures got that. So it has appeared before. And these accessories are soft. I must say they are definitely soft, softer than the other ones. And this is not really sticking in his back very well because it's so soft. No, it's not going in there. So I'm not sure. It's too soft. The plastic's much more spongy and it's not hard. So that's one of those excuses a lot of folks had with him. So that would have been what he would have probably put his large machete in, would have went in there, I bet. Or maybe this big gun. So he's got a big machete with some silver deco on both sides there. And he's got this really big gun. And this has got like a it kind of looks like Megatron, a little bit like Megatron. It's like an Old West gun with a targeting eye on the top with some deco on it. Looks really good, I must say. There's a lot of detail in that gun. It looks really nice. So I'm guessing that's what's supposed to go in this backpack here because it's a large holster. Yeah, it is. So the gun goes in there, and then there's a little strap that goes on there that closes like that. So, oops, strap didn't close because those little doodads don't work very well. Yeah, so there's a little strap there, and that doesn't close because the little doodad doesn't want to stay in that hole. Similar to the peg hole does not want to stay in the back of the figure. So that's not a good sign. So let's see what we can do with this machete. So we have a machete holster on the left. So we're going to put that in there. Because he's in the swamp. Water moccasin is always in the swamp. So I'm guessing that's why he has this machete in case he has to go through the swamp. And then if you saw in the comics, he was chopping up plants and stuff like that as well. So there you go. I got the machete on him in that sheath on the leg. Lenny Honda, hello. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Sean Jones, same here. Driving, logging truck though. Traffic is at high speed. Oh boy. Be careful, you guys. Drive safe. Don't text and drive. Yo, Joe. Bobby World. I think they purposely were making the gun look like Megatron since it's the same voice actor as Copperhead. I did not know um, what's his name did Copperhead's voice. Is that like an homage that I was not aware of, that the voice actor for Megatron did the voice of Copperhead. I did not know that. So he has another revolver there, a little PK revolver. So I'm going to put that in the other holster there. And then that also has a little doodad on it. I'm thinking they were trying to make this cool, but it doesn't really make sense that they put a little doodad there. But none of the little doodads stick. See, you can see that little thing hanging out there. It doesn't really go in. So none of these are going to stay in this figure. And I'm not happy about that. The accessories with these figures recently, because they're too soft, has not been a very good experience for my classify play pattern. I'm not happy about that. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may have to fiddle with that to see if I can get that to stay on. I like the figure. I think the figure's a really cool figure, and it has a lot of cool accessories overall. Frank Welker did the voice of Megatron and Copperhead. Wow. I was not aware that Frank Welker did the vintage Megatron. I knew he did the some of the stuff in the movies, but I didn't know he did the vintage one. I knew Peter Cullen did Optimus Prime, but I was not aware Frank Welker did Megatron. Well, that's cool. Thank you, Bobby World. So there you go. There's Copperhead with his accessories. He's got some cool accessories. It's a shame that we can't get them all on there. You guys know how that bothers me when I can't get the accessories on the figure. So now I got to put that away and get that put in his weapons locker. So let's see. There's some really cool detailing on the boots there. There's a lot of layering. If you look at the crotch, there's a lot of layering with that armor. There's a lot of really cool stuff with this figure. They did a really good job. This is, I would say, is mostly new. This is almost a completely new mold. I would say it's very, very new. But like I said, if you can't fit all the accessories on them, it's not a good situation. You want to get all that stuff on there. So there you go. Copperhead with his vintage figure. Okay, so we got 73 is coming up next. It's another water character. And so, like I said, we're going to get water characters, but we do not get any water vehicles. And then after that, we have a deluxe figure that I've been waiting for a while. It's one of my all-time favorite figures from my youth. Came out the same year as the Water Moccasin and Copperhead. And he's actually in the same story with Copperhead. So hopefully actually both of these characters are. So that should give you a clue as to the next two characters. They're in the same issue of the comic as Copperhead, this comic. So there you go. All right. So this wasn't too long. Anything else? Oh yeah, I wanted to mention tomorrow I'm going to be doing a Renegade Games studio episode leading up to the Renegade Games Virtual Con. So I'll be going over a whole bunch of new Renegade games that I've gotten over the last few months. Compiled them all together so we can do a video. What else? I think that is everything. So did you guys have something that you wanted me to review? I asked at the beginning of the video and the middle of the video if there was something you guys would like me to pull out of my collection to review for you guys as a thank you for contributing to the chat. I'll pull something out of my collection if I have it. I have a lot of stuff, so I probably do have it, but something that you would like to learn more about, something that you have not seen a lot of reviews on, or something like that that you would like to see more of, that I could pull from the collection and showcase for you guys. Let me know, and I will do that, and we could do a special video about that. So there's lots of stuff coming up. Also, I want to let you guys know to make sure you keep watching Toy Talk Sunday afternoons at 2 o'clock, with my two co-hosts, Dan Thompson and Terry Ruin. We talk about all things GI Joe and other toys and other parts of the toy industry and so on and so forth. And we also talk about some of our personal projects that we're doing on there. So that's Sunday afternoons at 2 o'clock. If you're able to watch that as well, I'd appreciate it. We do a pretty good job, I think, with that. So I think that covers everything for this video. Thank you again, everybody in the chat. Thank you for everybody that watches this after the fact. Thank you all for contributing and getting involved. I appreciate it. This is for you guys, and we will go to the next one. Copperhead's a cobra, so hail Cobra! See you next time, guys.